I'll call it. I wrote this off one note. I need to thank the committee for the basket in my room. I'm going to turn it over to God and see where it all goes. And I want to thank you for inviting me down to participate in this conference. What's going on here? There we go. Off too fast with the microphone, I guess. All today, it took you 6 years to invite him up here to participate and do something like this. And I did have the privilege to speak here at the very first round of that 25 years ago. And hell, it only took you 25 years to call me back here to speak again. Must have really impressed you, I'll tell you that much. I think what an honor and privilege it is. I don't have the program, but I remember some of the people in the program. And my wife, Nancy, at that time, she spoke on the program, and Charlie Lenderwood spoke on the program. And I don't know if many of the other speakers, it's a long time ago, but they're both deceased, and I might be one of the last living ones from that program. It's scary. If you have a 50th program, I hope I can make it back with that one too. If you invite me. I was planning on coming, and then I've been doing a lot of traveling with my family on vacation, and I got a conference next week that I got to attend. I don't speak at it. I go there to listen. Next weekend, this might keep cutting off here.
Yeah.
So, everyone, God's trying to tell me something here. Okay?
There you are.
Right, you didn't miss anything. And I was telling Cap I was going to come down anyway because I love Tampa and I've been there before. And I thought, you know what, I try to put some balance in my life, so I'm not going to come down here and then all of a sudden I got a phone call to come and fill in. So for the humility's sake, I'm here as a substitute. I'm not here as a main speaker. We want to keep Frank's wife in our prayers. She's in critical condition, so you say the Lord's Prayer after me to remember her and him and his family in your prayers. And I want to thank Cappy. I've had the privilege of sponsoring Cappy for about the last 16 or 17 years. We had the same sponsor years ago up in the Maryland area, Virginia area. And we had to find ourselves getting a new sponsor. He asked me to sponsor him. So I'm not responsible for putting the foundation on him, but I am responsible for having a wonderful relationship with him for the last 16, 17 years. And as you stay older and get older, stay long in this program, our sponsors keep passing away and we keep replacing them. And I damn near ran out of sponsors in my area. And Captain's my long distance sponsor, so I think it's important you have a permanent local sponsor. And I told him you move down there, get yourself a sponsor in Florida. My sobriety date is March 12, 1966. And through the grace of God, I've had to take a drink since that time. I'm not a first nighter in AA. I came here when I was 23 and I didn't get sober until I'm 25. So now I'm 71 years of age, living life. I'm living the dream. Life is great. Trust me, I love being sober. It's the greatest thing happened to me in my entire life. When I go to a meeting like this to share something like this, I swear to God, I'm not one of these circus speakers that go out all the time. I go out when I can. And I always pray. I'm always nervous before I stand up to speak. My sponsor said, if you're not nervous when you stand up to speak, maybe you should set it back down because you're probably on an ego trip of some kind. And I never want to forget that. And I think about our responsibility we owe to the new person sitting in the room of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I remember I was sober about 7 or 8 years. And I happened to be traveling down on the Outer Banks with my family on vacation. There was an old couple, Isaac and Millie Copeland, lived in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, killed off the hills. And we used to go over to their place on a vacation, spend some time with them. And I remember one day, Millie Copeland and I were all out there laying on the beach on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Millie and I looked like a couple beach whale men out there. And I said, Millie, I'm sober almost 8 years or whatever. And I said, I don't hear the things I used to hear in AA. And there's people in this room saying the same thing today. They don't hear the things they used to hear when they came in. And she said, then why the hell don't you say them? And I'm telling you the same thing, why don't you say them? If they're good enough to get you sober and keep you sober, they're good enough to the next guy or gal. I found out I don't have to change AA to fit me, I have to change me to fit AA. And that's part of our responsibility. Anyway, Cappy picks me up at the airport. I had the opportunity to make some late plans. I'm one of these guys that comes to a conference I believe come for the whole thing. I don't come in, do my deal, and get out of town. I come in early and I stay late. Got in, in fact, I came a day early. Cappy picked me up. Went to his home group, spent the night at his house. Went out and had breakfast with a bunch of old guys, except a couple of them. Friday morning at noon, I made breakfast at 8:30 and spent the day with him. They came over here. Caught the Red Ball meeting to get it started off, and I've attended every one of your speakers meetings, enjoyed the speakers, and it's been good up here so far. And I'm looking forward to hearing you later, and life is good. I used to go to meetings and I used to hear people say, I swore I'd never be like one of my parents. They were an alcoholic, or both of my parents were alcoholics. I swore I'd never be like them. And here I am in AA, they said. And I used to sit there and listen, and I used to say and think the same thing. I swore I would never be like one of my parents. And the reason was because neither one of them drank or smoked. They were two most boring people you ever want to meet in your entire life. A big decision for them on a holiday, are we going to have iced tea or lemonade? Or maybe we're going to have them both this year. You never know. I'm one of 7 kids in my family. As of this point, none of my brothers and sisters have ever had a problem with drinking or drugs. It's just not in my family. I've got 2 children. I've got a son 53 years of age. Got a daughter 48. Some people say, how do you, God, you got a son 53? I said, yeah. They said, didn't you have sex education in high school? I said, hell yeah, we call it a recess. I was a father when I was 17 years old. And then I became a grandfather. I was 36 years old. My son had that same recess. We graduated from high school on Thursday. His wife had a baby on a Saturday. We're active little suckers up my area, I'll tell you that. We live fast and die young. We try to be hands of course with such young guys in my area. That's what I try to do. And I got, neither one of my children have a drug or drinking problem. I got 6 grandchildren. 34 years of age on down. And there's no drug or drinking problem so far in that family. That can't happen. I get 6 grandchildren, so there's no alcoholism nowhere in my entire family. So I don't know whether I try to make up for the whole family or what happened. I guarantee you this, I never met a drink I didn't like. Yeah. The very first time I drank, I got drunk. The last time I drank, I got drunk. And every time in between I drank, you get drunk. I found something in that first drink I never found in life. I was a weird, mixed-up little kid before I ever started drinking. I remember thinking back, even before I started drinking, I lived like in a fantasy world most of the time. I was a bad little kid sometime before I started drinking. I don't know what kind of mother you had. I had the most wonderful mother in the entire world, but she was mean. She was mean. She could be mean. When I was bad, we had a hedge in front of our house. We had to go cut our own switch before we got beaten. She said, if it breaks and I have to walk after that hedge, I'm going to get me a big switch. She kept beating me. It didn't work. She said, I'll try something else different this time. I was really bad. My brother and I was bad when they were like 5, 6 years old. Had 2 older sisters. She said, I'll fix you. And she dressed me and my brother up in our sister's clothes. Had little patent leather shoes on and little skirts and ruffles on. She set us on the front porch. Let all the school kids come home from school, walk by and look at us, sit there on the front porch. My brother's crying up and laughing like hell, you know what I mean? It's a wonder I didn't dress up to grow up to be a transvestite. So I mean, that's the kind of behavior I had. I was like a foul ball on tall weeds. I was always in trouble. And I started drinking by late standards as today. I was like 14, 15 years old prior to my first drink. Now, I don't know how much my first ice cream cost, but I'll tell you what, that first bottle of wine cost 51 cents. I got more of that bottle of wine, never got every ice cream I ever ate in my entire life. In fact, I bought 2 bottles of wine on my first drunk for $1.02. I got 2 bottles of Madeira port wine. I started upscale, high-class guy. And we're going to a party. A bunch of us guys lied to our parents about what we're going to do and everything else, and we're going to go to a party, and we stopped down and got a guy to bought him a bottle to buy us some booze, and I bought 2 bottles of wine because it was cheap, and I wouldn't use to drink, and I know how it tastes. And After I had the first drink, I wouldn't care about taste anyway. I was drinking for effect. First time I drank, I got drunk, and when I got drunk, I'll tell you what, I found a feeling that I never had before in my entire life. That booze made me feel good. It made me feel great. It brought me alive. It was like I was a lion in a cage, and it opened the door and let me come roaring out. In AA, we talk about, if you want to see someone getting sober in AA who's coming to meetings and trying to put this program in their life, you look for a profound change in their personality. Because the same person's going to drink again. We've got to change. We're not going to stay sober. I went through a profound change in personality when I started drinking. From a guy who was shy and bashful and insecure and inferior and just felt like he never fit in, all of a sudden now I think I'm the cat's meow. I think I'm God's gift to women. I can't wait. I get better looking as I drink. I get taller. I get smarter. I get stronger. It just changed me. It gives me the courage to say things I felt bashful about. It just changed my whole personality. And I got sick that night, had a blackout that night. The very first time I drank, I experienced a tremendous blackout. I made a fool out of myself that night. They were telling me things I didn't say. I couldn't remember some of the things I do remember. I don't want to remember. And I know I fell into a Christmas tree garden that night. And I busted up a guy's beautiful set of Lionel trains. I fell into a bathtub, and luckily there was no water in there. I would have probably drowned. I got sick. I leaned out the window shop. I fell out of the window. I was in trouble from the very beginning to the very end with drinking. And yet, I couldn't wait to go back and do it again. And I went back and drank after that every single chance I could. Now, you talk about trying to hide a bottle in your house. If you're a family, no one's drinking in the house, try to hide a pump-filled 14, 15-year-old kid in your house drinking all the time. And I drank, by the time I'm 15 years of age, I'm drinking every day. I left home by the time I was 17. My parents did not know what to do with me. I was constantly getting into trouble, always drinking. I don't have a formal education. I got booted out of school my senior year because of drinking, getting in trouble at school. Let me tell you something, I'm sitting there all weekend and I go to these conferences and I hear these speakers come up here and speak, and a lot of them have a lot of degrees and education, and I sponsored some guys over the years that have gotten sober, gone to school, and they got a degree in college and went back and got a doctorate and masters and all kind of degrees. And I'm proof you stay sober a long time, not amount to a damn thing. When you uneducated guys out there, don't think you got a chance to come up here and speak. If I can do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. I'm a butcher at the English language. I told my sponsor, first time they asked me to speak at something, I said, I don't know why they're asking me. I said, I'm not a public speaker. I never took a Dale Carnegie course. I don't do nothing. He said, maybe they're asking you because you're just a public drunk. And AA is the best of the heart, not of the mind. I go to meetings and sometimes I can feel a talk more than I can hear a talk. And I want to thank Jimmy Jones for speaking for us this weekend. What a beautiful talk he gave. And so anyway, I found myself getting into trouble. I found myself getting married when I was 17. Now, most people that get married at 17, that's one of two reasons. You're either pregnant or crazy. And Nancy and I have a little bit of both. I got married on April 20th, had a son born 3 months later, July 20th. I told everybody he's born 6 months premature. Weighed about 8.5 pounds. My father told me, he said, you know, that first kid can come anytime. That second one's going to take probably about 9 months. So here I am. I'm moving out of no education. I got to get a job. I couldn't get a decent job. I had to go down to the waterfront, get a job in a factory, and worked on the waterfront and got involved in a lot of stuff down there. We did a little loan sharking down there. And it got so bad, my union, I had to join a union to work down on the waterfront, and the company was, well, I'll put it this way, they got disappointed me to the point they put me on the midnight shift so they wouldn't have to deal with me. What a great shift to work if you're an alcoholic. 12 to 8. You get off the bars road, you come to work, they're still open. They never close for you. You sleep while the bars are closed, or you work while the bars are closed. Got a job in a factory, and I was an alcoholic from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I just lost absolute control. I would drink anything, anytime, anywhere. And my drinking, sooner or later, would get me into trouble. I'd either wreck a car, maybe be arrested, end up in a hospital, something would happen. But I just loved to drink. I just could not. My whole life was geared toward drinking. And in the beginning, it was all like that attitude of living fast, die young, be a handsome corpse, hanging in the nightclubs, the fast joints, wherever there's a nice band, there's music, and there's women and all. I'm not proud of my past, but it is my past. I would not want to be married to a jerk like me. I'm the kind of guy who would go out, take a drink, get drunk, a bunch of guys and gals say, let's go down to Ocean City. It's only a couple hours away. We'll finish this drunk down on the beach. And I said, sounds good to me. I'm married, got a kid. Down the beach I go. We're down there drinking and partying all night. Sun's starting to come up, and I'm thinking, I didn't go home last night. Damn, I need a drink. I started drinking some more. Then I started thinking, which is dangerous for drunks. I'm already one day late, why not be two? Yeah. And anyway, who's she to tell me what to do? And I would just stay away, and I'm going out for a drink, and sometimes I come back 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks later. I would not want to be married to a jerk like me, but that's who I was. And I just loved hanging in the beginning, nightclubs, bars, where there was a lot of action. And at the end, that action was gone. I would just sit in a bar and drink booze. The party was over for me. No more nightclubs and parties and things like that. I remember one time I used to drink, I was running around with a midget. And you never know what this guy's name is. Believe it or not, his name was Shorty. And Shorty and I need some money. We get drunk, and I go in the bar, and I put Shorty up on my knee and pretend I'm a ventriloquist. And people would buy his drinks. He worked out a factory with me on a midnight shift. He was out for it too. We didn't care. So we do all kind of crazy things like that to get a drink. And I was arrested one time for fighting in a bar with a couple police officers one night. I'm in a bar trying to make a move with a couple of these girls. These two guys come up and we suggest you leave here. I said, who are you? They said, well, they take their wallets out, flip it up, show them. They said, we're police officers. I said, you gotta be cops. Yes, we are. Well, next thing a fight breaks out, they were police officers. And next thing you know, we're in a big fight, and then next thing I'm locked up, I'm being handcuffed, I'm being booked, I'm in jail, sitting there for assaulting a couple of police officers, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct. They gave me a verbal assault charge. Verbal is when you have a filthy, filthy mouth. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not, you know what I'm thinking? If they had their uniforms on, I would have hit them. Nothing to do with my drinking, not that I'm drunk. If they had the uniform. One night I leave a bar, I'm heading to another bar, and I pass out the wheel, and I go into a spin. It dawns on me, I'm in an intersection, I'm going to stop this thing, and I put the car and brakes on, car spins, and wraps around a telephone pole. I get out of the car, I end up in a hospital. I get out of the hospital, I go back to the scene of the accident, there's a telephone pole on the side of the road there, and I'm thinking, no wonder I hit this pole, look how close it is to the side of the road. As long as we can look out there, blame other people, places, things for our behavior and our drinking, we don't have to look in here. Okay? And that was my lifestyle. And I lived like that. I was raised in Anne Arundel County, AA County. And what a wonderful lifestyle I had growing up. We had a home on the water, a little single cottage there, and everything was good. Went to a nice school. Now I'm in trouble with the police department, and you get in trouble with a small county in the police department, it can get tough. And they put me in a position one night, they told me, we're giving you 24 hours to get out of the county, you're going to go to jail for a long time. So I moved to Baltimore City. Never lived in a city before my entire life. Typical city, in Baltimore, you put it in there with Detroit, Philadelphia, Cleveland, all these cities, most of them are alike. Moved in a nice upscale neighborhood where I could rent a whole house for $14 a week. And all these houses are the same. They got 3 beds. They got a living room, dining room, kitchen downstairs, 2 bedrooms and a bath upstairs, concrete front yard, concrete backyard. And typical Saturday night on Welm Street, be sitting in your living room, probably watching a stolen television, drinking some beer, and your front door would bust open, and a guy would run in your house. You've never seen him before in your entire life. He runs through your living room, dining room, kitchen, out your back door, and down the alley. And here comes the police officer right now. Saturday Night Live entertainment on Welm Street. I lived on that street for like 2 years. I come home drunk one night, I saw a sign in the window across the street, house rent $13. I moved across the street, saved $1. That's how stupid I was. Our gas and electric would be cut off, and we'd run an extension cord out our kitchen window, down the wall into the neighbor's window, plug it in. It just made a difference to keep the refrigerator on amp on until we get the gas electric turned back on. All them houses are all roach infested. I don't care how good you clean them, they're all roaches in all them big cities. And they go everywhere. You go to work the next day, you sleep in that house that night, you go to work, you get in your clothes. You go to work, you feel something moving around your shoe. Feel something moving under your collar. Hell, I'm talking to a guy at work one day, and one of the roaches stuck his hand in my pocket, going like this. It's the way of life for us up there. I had 2 light bulbs in my house on Welland Street. Most people, look, if you come to my house today, I guarantee you, I got a light bulb in every house in my house. When I was drinking, I had 2 light bulbs. One in the kitchen, one in the bedroom. Got to go to the living room, you take it out of the kitchen, you take it out of the bathroom, take it out of the bed. Burn the hell out of your hands. I mean, I've been picking up for shoplifting. I could have stole some light bulbs, I wasn't thinking. So a friend's benefit for me today is light bulbs. All my chairs in the kitchen have seats on them. Like that. You come to my house, you drink out of a nice set of glass. I'm drinking. We got a beer glass, we got a Budweiser, we got a Hamp's beer glass, we got a Gunther's beer. Stuff I bought home from a bar. And I want a set of dishes out of one of the claw machines where you pick up the knife, set of Valmac kitchens, dishes. That's what we were eating now. We were living like a bum. And then hell, it got bad. I moved back to the county. Well, I couldn't afford to live in a nice place, so I started living in these abandoned summer homes. I'm drinking all this time, too. That's why I didn't have nothing. I was always broke. Never had no money. And we moved back to the county, and people who had a lot of money and lived in the city, they were called shore homes, summer homes, off the Magdalene River. And these houses were old, they were nice, but they were shacks sitting on the waterfront. Now they're mini mansions, but back in those days they were shacks. They weren't insulated. And they take the kids out of school on Memorial Day, move down there for the summer, and they have a wonderful time in the summer and up to Labor Day. They go fishing and crabbing and swimming and having a nice time. And Labor Day comes, they close the house down, move the kids back to the city, put them in a private school. Well, when they would move out of their house, I would move in. Sometimes invited, sometimes not invited. I'd spend the winter there. And they're nice if it wasn't a bad winter, but it's not like going to the bathroom and you look and your torch throws over. Or you look through the cracks and see snow on the ground. Or the electricity finally goes off, you got to run an extension cord to the neighbor's house, that will keep the space heater going in there and stuff like that. And that's how I was dragging myself and my family through this crap. And that's how I was living. And then when they would come back on Memorial Day, I'd find a place to live for 3 months, so I'll move back into the one the following year. Through the grace of God, I'm coming off of a really bad drunk in the spring of 1964, 23 years of age, not quite 24. And I'm riding down the highway and I'm thinking about committing suicide. I'm thinking about taking this car because, you know what, a lot of people have been disgusted with me for a long time. My father even told me one time, I threw my father's next door neighbor through a bar room window one night. And my father came to the bar and he was so ashamed of me. He said, the first time my father ever went to a bar, I think. But he knew I was in there. He went in and he talked to me. He said, I'm so ashamed of you. He said, you're not like your brothers and sisters or no one in the family. You come down here, you create all this hell, and you leave us holding the garbage down that you left down here. I'm so ashamed. I wish you wouldn't even use our same last name. You're a disgrace to our family. All your brothers and sisters graduate, get degrees, no place to look at you. You're not but a bum. And that's the relationship I had with my father when I was out there drinking. And so now I'm riding down the road, and a lot of people have been disgusted with me for a long time. But this day I finally reached the point I was disgusted with myself. I couldn't stand me. I couldn't stand the person I became. And I'm only 23 years old. We had a second child when I was drinking. Nathan, my son was he was born in July. The following year in August, we had another baby. And 3 months later, that baby died. And I used that excuse to drink. If your baby dies, you drink too. God hates me so much, he's taken my children. I don't hear nothing about God or anything religious in my life. Leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. So that's the attitude, mentality. I didn't want nothing to do with God. And here I ride down the road thinking about committing suicide. I don't have the courage to do it. I figure I'll probably screw this up too, and I'll be a paraplegic or something the rest of my life. And I didn't know what to do. And for some reason, I looked across the street and up on the hill. There was a little church up on this hill. I didn't know what kind of church it was. I saw the little church with a steeple on top of it, and I thought, God, I don't know. Through the grace of God, I went to that little church to talk to somebody. And I looked up there, and that's all I saw. Walked into church, I saw a little minister sitting there at a table. I sat down across from him, and I proceeded to tell him about what's going on in my world. I got marriage problems, job problems, financial, all kind of problems. He said, yeah, but it seems like you're drinking is your biggest problem. I said, why the hell do you think I'm drinking? I got all these problems. He said, you ever think your drinking's causing all these problems? I said, no, it never dawned on me. He said, well, look, I can't help you with your problem, but I can help you with your problem, but I can't help you with your drinking problem. But I'll tell you what, I got a member of my congregation who's a member of a thing called Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't even know it was AA when I came here. I thought it was Alcoholics Anonymous Association. I thought it was 3A's. We get drunk in a bar, guys would say, yo, go to 3A's, man. And we're looking on the phone book, Conversation in America, you know. And I didn't know it was AA until I got here. And he said, this guy hasn't had a drink in 7 years, and he used to be a lot like you, and he has a drink, and his whole life has changed, and maybe he can help you. Now, I don't know what I was looking for, but I did like what I had. I found myself at one of my first AA meetings, 23 years of age. It was still a disgrace back in those days. It wasn't recognized as a disease in those days, so you saw very, very, very few women back in the 60s in Alcoholics Anonymous. Because it was such a disgrace to be an alcoholic back in the 50s and 60s. And I found myself going to that first meeting with that guy, Larry, that night. Went into a little room in a basement of a church. Might have been 12, 15 guys at that table, maybe one gal or so. And here I am, 23. I looked around the room, and to me, they looked like they were all over 100 years old. If they had hair, it was white. And that's just the women. I'm not talking about the men. They were all old looking, and they all drank longer than I was old. And I'm sitting there listening to them. And you know what else is neat about them old timers? I love old timers. In fact, I asked my sponsor one time when I was doing AA, I said, what's an old timer? I hear that word. He said, anybody sober longer than you is an old timer. And they had nicknames set around the table. We had a guy sitting at the table. His name was Johnny Budweiser because he drank so much Budweiser. We had a guy who had one eye. He was called One Eye Jack. Philadelphia Phil was sitting at the table. And Boxcar Smitty was sitting there. He drove boxcars all over the country, and he nicknamed him Boxcar Smitty. They had Big Bill there and Little Bill. And they had all these nicknames. I'm thinking, what the guy's name I got myself into here? Yet they were so nice to me. They were very kind to me. And then, I don't remember a lot about it, but after the third day of going to meetings, it dawned on me, you're serious about not drinking? And I still want to drink, and I got to get out of here. Now, you're talking about one day at a time, but I'm here in years. I got to get out of here. Yet you've been so nice to me. And I'll tell you what it was. It wasn't the drinking I missed as much as was a lot of the action. Being a young person in AA, I bounced back physically pretty fast. We do. And I missed the action. And I was like a moth drawn to a flame. So after one meeting, they told me, if you don't want to have a slip, don't hang a slip, replace it. But I missed the avenue where I used to hang out all the time. And after we meet one night, I go down to the avenue. And I'm walking up down the avenue, I'm looking for Easy Does bumper stickers on cars. And I'm seeing if anybody in the neighborhood up now. 10 o'clock at night, I see anybody that went to a meeting that I know around AA. And I was right in front of Sweeney's Lounge. I used to hang in Sweeney's Lounge. A nice band went in there and everything. Now I'm not drinking, I sneak in like a coward. Sneak up to the bar, so just walking up like I'm here, you know what I mean? I order a plain Coca-Cola. And the barmaid said, a plain Coca-Cola? Remember years ago there was a company called E.F. Hutton, and when E.F. Hutton spoke, everything got quiet. Seemed like, she said, a plain Coca-Cola, seemed like the band stopped playing. I felt like I had a sign on top of my head saying, hey, 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 hey. She said it'd be $5. $5 for a little glass of, it's 1964. I saw a guy order beer, and so I got a beer looking like this tall, paying 50 cents. I'm thinking, hell, I got my first resentment in AA right here. All I can tell you, because I associate with drinking people, drinking places after coming into AA and not letting go of old people, places, and things, I drank again. The same thing happened to me after I came to AA that used to happen to me before I came to AA. I got drunk. And when I get drunk sooner or later, I'm going to get in trouble. Maybe not today or maybe not tomorrow, but I will get in trouble. Story of my life. And I come off that bed drunk and I called AA and called my sponsor up. I thought once you took a drink after you came here, you actually communicated out of AA. You can't come back. They said, so I went back to the meeting. And the first thing I did, I let all the old timers in AA know how sorry I was to let them down. He said, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop right there. You let us down? You took a drink. Go look in the mirror. You're half our age. And I guarantee you, we look better than you do tonight. You took a drink. You let yourself down, baby. You're here. If you want it, come and get it. If you don't want it, don't let the door hit you in the tail when you leave. We ain't going to beg you to stay sorry. You got to want to be sober more than you want to be drunk. You don't have that one, you better pray for that one-to-one. But it's here if you want it. If you don't want it, hey, don't waste our time. I got involved with a bunch of old-timers back in those days with concern, saved my life and not my feelings. They gave me 2 guarantees, same I'll share with you this morning. If you're an alcoholic, you're sitting in these rooms, you're thinking about taking a drink, invariably there will be somebody in this room taking a drink. I guarantee you this, it never gets any better. I've never seen a drunk in AA who got sober, went out and drank again, come back and tell me a success story. If they get back. And they all don't get back. I suppose a lot of guys took out and went out and took a drink and they didn't get back. They died out there. It never gets better. You continue to drink. The other guarantee they gave me, I don't care how bad it is in your life tonight and all the pain you're going through and everything else, if you stay sober, even if things don't get better, you can get better. Just give it some time. You can learn to handle the situation better. You don't have to face this by yourself. We can do together what you can't do alone. Got AA in one hand, God in the other. It's hard to think of a drink. It's here if you want it. Give it some time. It takes time to get sick. It takes time to get well. Anyway, I couldn't buy all this crap in AA and being a typical phony in AA, and we have phonies in AA, believe it or not. They don't throw none of us out. They didn't throw me out. I proceeded to go to everybody important in my life and told them I'm going to AA, my life's going to be changed. Oh, my boss called excited. He said, God, you're going to see what a 40-hour paycheck looks like. And landlord's going to get the rent. I don't have to move in the middle of the night. Now I moved twice in 1 week one time. I used to move a lot. Cheaper food and pay rent. I moved 8 times one time. 8 in 1 year. My wife's excited. She said, gosh, you're going to go to work, come home the same day with the same clothes on. She's all excited. Kids are going to go to the zoo Saturday. And everybody's happy that I'm not drinking and going to AA except for one person. It's me. I don't want to be here. And invariably because of my behavior, my association with different people, places, things, I drank again. And I got drunk and it never got any better. I went back to drinking within 6 months. I was living in one of these abandoned summer homes, went berserk in that summer home from drinking one night. Back in those days, they called it man a Porsche when you go wild and crazy from drinking. And that's what I was. I'd been on a long drunk, and I just went crazy from drinking in that little summer home. And I took my fist, I ran my fist through the doors, the windows, the walls, tried to put my head through a concrete porch. My wrists and hands were all cut up and went through the glass and the windows, and I just destroyed that house inside. And I found myself being held down, and the police department came, and the fire department, and they called my father from the neighborhood come over, and took me to a hospital, stood me up that night, and I sat in a doctor's office the next day, and they said, you got to do something about your drinking. Can't you just stop drinking? I said, no, I need to drink right now. I'm 24 years old. They said, well, we're going to have to do something with you. There's no treatment center back in the 60s where I lived. Back in the 60s, they just put you in a funny farm, or Goonie Roots, or State Hospital, wherever you want to call it. And they committed me to Crownsville State Hospital. And I went to Crownsville State Hospital, and they put me in there in like a snake pit area where it's they take away your shoestrings, your belt, and everything, and you eat with a soup spoon, and they do an evaluation on you, and then they sort of send you to different buildings. Well, after a couple of days, the psychiatrist said, we were diagnosed you as an alcoholic, and you should go up to Cottage 15. I said, what do you do up there? He said, well, you go to meetings and you work. I said, what kind of meetings? He said, AA meetings. I said, excuse me, I didn't come down here to go to AA and go to work. He said, fine, stay here. I said, it's fine with me. Look, I could have went to Cottage 15, walked around with my belt on, my shoestrings, smoking cigarettes, eating a knife and fork. Life is good down there. No, not me. I decided to stay in a locked ward with all the crazy people. Eating with a soup spoon, trying to hold my pants up. I stayed there 6 weeks. And we played games in there with psychiatrists. I love Sandy's talk. We made the ceramic ashtrays for therapy. We made little leather wallets. He even let us make leather belts, even though we couldn't wear them. And we're doing this kind of therapy. And all of a sudden, one of the young guys said, can't we do something else besides this crap? He said, like, well, we got a lot of young guys in here. We like to dance. They said, we never thought about that. Next day, the psychiatrist comes in with a little record player. Invite all the crazy girls from their ward in our ward. We're all in there together. He said, now, let's see if we can do some dancing for therapy. Swear to God, he turns it on. I see a gorgeous little blonde. I said, would you like to dance? She said, I'd love to. We get up, we're all dancing, and I'm dancing around her. I got my wrist all taped up. Got my forehead taped up like this. I'm dancing around with her, trying to show her some moves from the avenue. Like I dip her every now and then, you know, trying to impress her. Nothing like trying to impress a girl in a nut house, you know what I mean? So I'm dancing around with her, just making some nice moves and everything. And she says, she looked at my wrist, she said, you tried to commit suicide, didn't you? I said, nah. She said, yes, you did. I said, no. I said, they got cut up going through some windows on the wall, off track, you know what I mean? And I said, they think I'm an alcoholic. She said, no, I think you're trying to commit suicide. I said, look, let's stop talking about me. Let's talk about, what are you in there for? She said, I killed my husband. I said, well, I might be crazy, but I'm not stupid. I can be a new dance partner right now. All I can tell you, I spent 6 weeks in there and I finally got out of there. I didn't know all I had to do was sign a waiver in like 48 hours I got to walk through the door. I had to break out of there. And then they waived it so they wouldn't have to bring me back so I could sign a paper. The day I got out of there, I got drunk and I stayed drunk. From that time on, I got back with my wife and the kids and got my job in the factory. Union protected my job while I was gone. And I went back and it was the same thing over and over and over again. Drinking was the most important thing in my life. And I swear to God, I would drink anything, anytime, anywhere. I drank on the job. I had bottles hid around the factory. I drank before. I could go to work in a midnight shift, fudge my work, and take a nap so I could go out and drink some more the next day. And finally, on March the 12th, 1966, I came off of a terrible drunk. My last drunk took place in a bar in Baltimore City. And it was on the corner of Mount Royal and Shaw Street, if you're familiar with Baltimore City. There's a bar in the corner there called a Bucket of Blood. Nice place. They call it a Bucket of Blood because when a fight breaks out, they don't call the police. They lock the door and let you fight it out. You know what I mean? Nice place. I'm in there with a gal. And I'm drunk and she's drunk, and we sat down and started talking, and she said, what you up to? I said, I'm looking for a woman. She said, me too. I said, well, let's go hunt together. She says, I'm bi, and I'm thinking I'm leaning toward the lesbian side, and I'm looking for one. I said, well, that's fine, we'll go both get one. And we were so drunk, we went to Les Cows and all these different, no one had nothing to do with either one of us, so her and I said, hell with it, let's go spend the night together. Yeah. I spent the night with her. And she had a bag with her. I don't know what happened in that room that night. I know the next morning I snuck out there like 5:30. Hell, I was black and blue all over. I know she beat me or what the hell she did. She had all kind of contraptions in there with her. So, I know I come out of there. I snuck out at 5:30 while she was sleeping, and I had to get to a bar and get a drink. So I didn't have a car. I lost my license in my car already, so I went down to I called a cab to a bar called the Holland Inn. And I went in there and started drinking. I knew they opened at 6. And one of the guys on the night shift got off work at 8 o'clock and walked in that bar and found me passed out on the men's room floor. They picked me up and took me home. I was dirty. I was laying there sweating on that floor. And took me home, and I felt so ashamed of myself. He took me home. He says, pulled up in front of my house. I said, God, I don't want my neighbors to see me walking in front of the house like this. Take me around back and we go through the back door. Walk around the back door. Everybody's out there washing their car. Take me around the front. I go to the front of the house, and Nancy opens the door and looks at me, and she just shakes her head. And I look at a shadow box mirror on the side of the wall. They had old shadow box mirrors back in those days. And it looked like a monster was looking back at me. And I went upstairs and I shook that drunk out. And through the grace of God, I don't know where it came from. I thought about, I got to get back to AA. I'd been there 2 years. And I came back off that drunk, and I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been here ever since the day of the time. I've never taken a sabbatical from Alcoholics Anonymous. I came back and I joined AA. Big difference between being in AA and being around AA. First time I was around AA, I was never in AA. I thought just sitting in a chair made me in AA. My sponsor said, that's a great way to get started, but you have to do more than just sit in a chair in a meeting to be in AA. Action is the magic word. He said, if you think just sitting in that chair is going to change you and change your life, sitting in that chair in an AA meeting, you take that same chair home, put it in your garage, set into it, and see if you turn it into a car. It ain't going to happen. You're going to have to take some action. It's like your bed. You can pull your bed out in the middle of the room and you walk around your bed all night long. How you get down there and smell it? You touch it, you look at it, it don't mean nothing until you get in it. AA is the same way. We got to get in AA. How do you get in AA? Well, the most important thing you can ever do to get in AA and really get in AA is stop drinking. You got to stop drinking. I'm 25 years old. He said, I used to shake a lot when I stopped drinking. That's why we get all those new guys to have a cup of coffee when we come in here. I used to shake a lot. I told my sponsor, maybe I could just smoke a little dope or something to calm me down and get on these shakes. He said, no. We're talking about a program for you of total abstinence. He said, shaking ain't going to kill you. He said, shake it out. He said, you ever heard of anybody who died, they wrote on a death certificate, he shook to death? Shaking ain't going to kill you. Dudes will. You start thinking about a drink, think about the last time you were shaking. I had a speech impediment when I got sober. I used to stuttered a lot. I found by talking fast, I don't stutter. It's just something that happened. You just have to listen fast. I used to walk around meetings all the time, I was always squinching. My sponsor, what's the matter? I said, I can't see. He said, get some glasses. I said, I look better without them. He said, you ain't here to win a beauty contest. He was talking like this all the time. He said, get your hand out of your mouth. We can't understand what you're saying. I said, half my teeth, I'm ashamed, half my teeth were missing. Stay sober and get some new one. Hell, I got new teeth. My whole life's changed. I used to go to, I was in AA like 7 days, maybe 8, 9, 10, I don't know how long it was. It was early. We're riding down the road one day with my sponsor. I said, Ed, I want to talk in these meetings. He said, what do you want to talk about? I said, drinking. He said, well, how do we know how to drink? He said, do you know how not how not? I said, no. He said, then you shut up and you listen. If you're so smart, what are you doing coming in here? He said, I'm going to give you a little education here. He said, look at your face in the mirror and you notice you got one mouth and 2 ears? He said, must be a reason God put that, built you like that. He wants you to listen twice as much as he wants you to talk. Otherwise, he would have gave you one great big ear on top of your head and 2 mouths like right over here. So he said, Zach, I'm going to tell you what. Why don't we just try something very good and very important for you? Now, there's many different ways. I'm going to share you my experience. He said, I don't want you speaking for your first 6 months in AA. Because you ain't got a damn thing to say. You don't speak for your first 6 months. Now, you can talk before a meeting. You can talk after the meeting. You can make calls, do a lot, but you're not going to speak in the meeting. I said, okay, I can do that. And that's what I did. I was, look, access Acts is the magic word. I was in there not even 10 days. And a new man, because we had a treatment center back in those days, the new people kept coming in the meetings. It was not unusual. 2 or 3 times a week, see someone have a seizure at a meeting. Not quite seizure. But we always had new people coming in all the time. He said, hey, there's a new guy, go talk to him. Go talk? I've only got 10 days, you've got 2 years, you go talk to him. What am I going to tell him? He said, tell him about your 10 days. You don't have 10 days. You're not shaking like you were 10 days ago. You're not smelling like you were 10 days ago. You're starting to change. He doesn't have 10 days. Tell him about it. Trust me, he is not going to get sober to the grace of Stu. He will get sober to the grace of God. So I just started coming back to the meetings, and Acts is the magic word. He said, every time you go to a meeting, try to learn something new. And I'm going to quiz you on the way home. What did you learn new tonight? And I had to say things like, well, I never knew it was first drink got me drunk till I came to AA. I swear I thought the 17th drink, 3rd six-pack, 2nd, 5th, some magic number. He said that was the first one. You don't take the first one, you can't take the 17th or the 3rd six-pack or the 2nd, 5th. You don't start drinking, you ain't got to stop drinking. If you leave here today, I don't care where you go, what you do. I'm not an AA cop. I'm not going to follow you. No matter what happens, when you make some good decisions, bad decisions, some stupid decisions, no matter what happens, remember this, if you don't take a drink, you can't get drunk. And I've seen times today, that's all the hell I had going for me. If I don't take a drink, I can't get drunk. And sometimes you're going to hurt in sobriety. And sometimes you're just going to have to stand there and hurt. This too shall pass. No one promised me a rose garden. No one said you're going to come in here and live happily after and never have a problem. Welcome to the world. But you don't have to drink over anymore. And you don't have to deal with it by yourself anymore. Here again, we can do together what you and I can't do alone. And they kept it that simple. I went to a meeting one night and I heard that word they mentioned over the weekend already, KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid. My sponsor, remember, the first 3 letters of the word stupid is stew. Keep it simple, stupid. I went to meet one night, I saw a word on a podium hanging down called plum, P-L-O-M. I'm thinking, please lay it on me, please, Lord Almighty. I'm trying to figure out P-L-O-M. Poor little old me. Pour me a drink. You can't afford to sit around and feel sorry for yourself. They kept it so simple. They didn't complicate it. I kept hearing about the steps. I said, when should I start working these steps? Because see, I just like going to meetings and not drinking. He said, the more you want to meetings, not drinking. He said, the steps of the program. I said, when should I start working these steps? He said, well, I suggest you start working them now or work them when you come back. But if you don't stay sober, if you don't work them, you probably ain't going to stay sober. You may buy some time, but you probably ain't going to stay sober. You got to get into the steps. Steps are very important. He said, he got 12 numbers in front of him. You think the steps don't work for you. You got to work them. But he said, a lot of times you'll be tossing and turning at night time. You can't sleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. He says, instead of, counting the sheep, talk to the shepherd. That doesn't work. He says, think of the first step. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, think of the 3rd step. You start thinking about the 3rd step. 4 o'clock, think of the 4th step. You think AA, it'll think for you. They kept it that simple. I went to a meeting one night, I saw the word spelled, I saw the word group spelled G-R-O-U-P. Grow up. You got to grow up. They kept it so simple. Action is the magic word. I got involved with a bunch of guys and they said, hey, listen, October, and I came in March, October said, we're going to New York for Bill Wilson's anniversary. I said, who's Bill Wilson? I said, all he is the founder of the program that saved your life, and he's getting old, and he's going to die one of these days, and before he dies, he wants you to go up there and have an opportunity to hear him tell a story. So 5 of us guys jump into a car in October, we go to New York to Bill Wilson's anniversary. They had an out-of-towners meeting on Saturday morning for people who had never been there before. And had like a small room like this with a small podium, and Lois and Bill came down and gave us a little talk. And after they talked, we all got in a great, everybody in the room, not just me, everybody in the room got in a great big circle, walk around. We all had a chance to shake Bill's hand and Lois's hand and thank them for what they've done for us for this program. And I'll never forget, I shook his hand and I said, I want to thank you for letting God use you as an instrument to find a program to save my life. And all they said was pass it on. Pass it on. And that's our primary purpose for Alcoholics and Alcoholics Anonymous. We've been given the gift to keep it, pass it on. I went back to 3 more of his anniversary before he passed away. What a gift God gave me, and I didn't even know what I was doing. Just get in the car and go for the ride. And I did. And I thank God I had that opportunity to do something like that. So I stayed sober about a year. I got my license back. Had to go to the DMV because I've been in a mental institution to face a medical advisory board to justify getting my license back. Sober almost a year, got my license back. And I bought my first AA car. Nothing like your first AA car. I got some beautiful cars today, trust me. Nothing like your first AA car. If you come in here and don't have a car, and get your license. My license cost me more than my car did. I bought an old, there's a taxi cab company in Baltimore City called Veterans GI Taxi Cab. It's a red, white, and blue taxi cab. And they took one of them off the street. And I knew the guy that had owned the company, and they took one of them off the street because it wasn't safe to carry people. And I bought it for $50. My sponsor took me down there. We stopped by the junkyard and picked up a used battery for $3 and a set of spark plugs and some duct tape. Went down there, got that old taxi cab started, took the dome off the top, pushed the electric wires in, put some duct tape over the hole, keep the rain out. Had a little can of spray paint with it. We sprayed over top of a Veteran GI taxi cab. And I'm on my way, baby. I'm on my way. Now I can start calling. Look, I'm one of these guys who got crazy about trying to help people after I got sober. I used to toss up guys on buses. I take them to meetings on buses. And now I'm going to take them in my cab. And all them young guys back in those days, let me tell you, the old timers in those days got tired of working with some of these young timers, these young guys in AA. So they dumped all the young guys on me because I'm 25, 26 years old. So now I'm working with all the young guys around AA. They're dumping them on me. And I picked a couple of young guys up, we're going to a meeting. The first thing they say is, where's all the young people in AA around here? We don't see any. It's 1967. I said, they go to a meeting on the other side of Baltimore. We'll go over there. Well, we go over there to a little area called Dundalk. Ain't no young people staying sober there. They say, where are they at? I said, they must be on the other side in Catonsville Friday night. Now I'm by 3 more days. I think there's no young people staying sober. Told my sponsor, I'm not lying to them. I'm romancing the truth just a little bit. I'm trying to buy them some time, make them realize age doesn't mean anything. And so I work with a lot of young people. I guarantee you, my first 3 years of AA, I must have sponsored 100 young drunks and alcoholics anonymous. I was always working. I fell in love with AA and I just started working with drunks. And on my 3rd anniversary, wasn't a damn one of them sober. But I was. They got me out of me. Smallest package in the world is someone wrapped up inside themselves. And that's me. Got me out of me. Now, 40 years go by. 45 years ago, I work with a lot of old guys. They walk into a Chick-fil-A meeting today and they look around and say, where the hell are all the old people at? I said, they're going to meet in Dundalk on the other side of town. So it doesnn't matter. The most important thing is we're here. I've been active since I've been an Alcoholics Anonymous. I can never, ever, ever pay back this program, what it's done for me. Never. My home group is the Curtis Day Monday noon meeting. A lot of those old people go to noon meetings now. A lot of them can't see at nighttime. So they go to noontime meetings. I used to frown when people went to noontime meetings. Now I'm part of it. You know? Careful what you say, it's come back and bite you, you know what I mean? I love my home group. A lot of old timers in my home group. That's why I hang in there. I feel like a kid in my home group. I'm one of the young people in my home group. We got like 22 members in my home group with about 428 years sobriety. And they attract other old timers to that meeting. You go to my home group on a typical Monday, you'll see 50, 60 young AA members there. Old time AA. We meet in a building, the church knows it's a community center, but it used to be called the Flamingo Lounge. A lot of us drank in that bar years ago. The church bought it and made it into a community center. No, we like it. Still has a bar there and everything. And that's my home group. I love that home group. And but I'm active in AA. I work with drunks. I have a sponsor. I sponsor guys. They sponsor guys. We get into the big book, you know. Anyway, we don't have time. I'm going to hit on a couple things here. I've had a lot of success things sober, a lot of nice things happening. I worked in a factory. I got out of the factory after 22 years. I went, you know, listen, my father took pride in the fact every one of his children but me got at least a high school diploma or a college diploma, except for me. In his bedroom, he had them hanging up in his bedroom. My two older sisters, my brother, oh, there's me. Dip, dip, dip. I got sober, I went back to night school and got a GED and gave it to him for a Christmas present. He sat there and cried. He cried. Took it in and hung it up in the bedroom. He's just as proud of that as my sister's college degree. And that's what this thing's about. It's a living amends. I couldn't stand my father when I was drinking. I was a kid growing up. When I got sober, I couldn't wait to grow up and be just like him. What a wonderful man. I am so blessed to get right with my father before he died. Later on, as he got older, let me tell you a story. Later on, when he got older, my mother passed away. I missed my mother. To this day, she's gone 15 years. I remember going down the road one time, told my sponsor, I go to meetings, I hear all these people say, love, 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 love. I said, I'm 25 years old, and I've never heard either one of my parents ever tell me they love me. He said, I got a question. How many times you told them you loved them? I said, never. He said, let us start with you. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. Next time you call your mother up, tell her you love her. So I called my mother up the next day or so, and we're talking. I said, Mom, before I get off the phone, I need to tell you something. She said, what's that? I said, Mom, I need to tell you I love you. She said, you're drinking again, aren't you? You got yourself involved in that cult, and they got you so screwed up, you're drinking again. I said, no. I just need to tell you I love you. Okay. And every day I call her up, I tell her I love her. Then one day she says, well, I said, Mom, I just need to tell you I still love you. She said, ditto. Same here. Then one day she said, me too. And then one day she said, I love you too. And that's spread to my brothers and sisters. We're all over the country. We email all the time. We always end the email, I love you. We meet a resort for a reunion every 2 years, and we slobber all over each other. We would never do things like that. It started with me just taking a chance. And it can happen to you. So I work my way out of the factory. I got some license now. You're getting a real estate like, look, real estate is bad now. You ain't seen nothing. 1981. Real estate interest rates are 18%. I worked in a factory, had a 5-week vacation, had a nice job in a factory. No, I want to be in real estate, I want to make some money. So I get a real estate license. Ain't nothing selling, but I figure when the market breaks, I'm going to be ready to make some money. The only thing went broke with me. My sponsor said, you're a bramble goose. I said, what's a bramble goose? He said, ever look in the fall and you see a big flock of geese and a big bee going south? There's one damn dumb goose going north. He said, that's a bramble goose. Everybody's getting out of real estate, you're getting in it. Hello? And it didn't work out. I went broke. I was asked to go chair a meeting one night over in Dundalk. And I didn't have $1 to go through the tunnel. I'm sober. Like 17, 18 years. I got to go through the city. I don't have $1 to go to pay the toll. I went broke. So I've been broke in AA. I've had money in AA. So I know what it's all about. A lot of successful, nice things have happened to me over the years. One of the most difficult things I've ever gone through in my sobriety, and I'm not proud of it, is because of my behavior. I ended up going through a divorce after 22 years of sobriety. I'm not proud of that. It's because of my behavior, not hers. We ended up getting divorced. Most difficult thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. And what happened, we got ourselves an attorney sat down and made a volunteer separation agreement. We just didn't go out and get a divorce. Let's take time. Let's work this thing out. Let's give it a couple of years. So her and I sat down, and we did a voluntary separation agreement of 2 years before we could even make any kind of decision. And it brought us some time from jumping out of a frying pan into a fire and trying to run out and get somebody to fix us. And we sat down and she said, well, we don't want to bring our sponsors, our friends know about it, but we don't want to bring it in and make it a mess in AA. So here's what we're going to do. I said, what meetings do you like to go to? She said, I like security. I said, I won't go there Thursday. You go there, get yourself well. I'm going to go over here on Thursday. I went to them. What convention? And she said, I like session. You go to session, I'll go to Blackstone. And we never crossed paths, and they had never brought our friends into all the garbage. And we went through it, and after almost 3 years, we finalized the divorce. Neither one of us ever remarried. It wasn't a nasty thing we brought in AA. We didn't have people have to choose sides and all that kind of crap. And then about 9, we went divorced. Neither one of us ever remarried. Then about 9 years ago, I get a phone call from her. And we get together out and in because of our children and grandchildren. And I had a lady friend in my life, and she had a gentleman in her life. And even though we didn't marry. And she calls me up, she said, Stu, she said, can you get the kids down there? I said, why? She said, I'm in the hospital. And she said, my cancer's come back. I said, why? I'm so sorry to hear that. She said, well, it doesn't look good this time. She had just getting ready to turn 61 years of age. And she'd been in Al-Anon for a long time. She spoke here. And after I divorced, she sort of drifted away from our meetings. I had been in Al-Anon a long, long time when all this came down. But she had some Al-Anon people she knew outside the program. And we go down there, and get my daughter come in from California, my son up from Florida. I take him to the hospital, and we sit down and we talk with the doctors and her and everything, and they give her a diagnosis. She had maybe 6 months to live. And we're setting up a plan to help take care of her for the next 6 months. And I said, can I be a part of that plan? She said, I would love that. Went back to my lady friend Kathy, who I'd known for about 25 years, and been doing some light housekeeping with for a few years. That's a polite way of saying shacking up, but it sounds better than saying light housekeeping. And Kathy and I were doing light housekeeping on the side, and I was doing a lot of traveling. And I said, Kathy, I said, Nancy's sick. I said, I got to go back, and I want to go back and I'll take care of her. I'm retired now, and I got the time. This is 9 years ago. She said, go back, I'll see you when I see you. You go back and take care of her. I know you still love her as a person. She's the mother of your children. Go back and take care of her. And I'll just see you when I see you. I said, fine. So, about every morning I get up at 5:30, go down there, take care of her during the day, sometimes with a girlfriend, sometimes not. And her girlfriends and her sister would all work, and they'd come in the evening and help take care of her. And for 6 months I went on. And I remember one day her and I sitting down there, and we're just by ourselves, and we're talking, and we're going back about what happened in our marriage and our lives. And I remember years ago, I told her one time, I said, I feel so bad about the things I did in our life. She said, you think you feel bad? I said, I remember some of them. She said, I remember all of them. I said, wow, what a blessing God gave me there with them blackouts. And I told her how sorry I was, all the pain I caused in her life. And I wish to God it was me sitting in that chair, not her. She said, you know, I believe that. I said, you're a better mother, grandmother than I've ever been a father or grandfather. I said, I'll be here with you all the way to the end. What a gift God gave me. I was at her bedside when she passed away. What a gift God gave me to make amends to her. To try, I told her, I said, how sorry I was. She said, Stu, I forgave you a long, long time ago. When are you going to forgive yourself? I love saying these meetings yesterday on forgiveness. We've got to learn to forgive ourselves if we're going to go on. After that whole divorce situation, I was going through AA like a car going 90 miles an hour with a flat tire. There's something missing. It was me, my guilt, shame. Anyway, I was glad I could be there for her and help take care of her. And then life goes on, and Kathy said, afterwards, Nancy passed away, and Kathy and I are sitting around the house, and we had a lot of deals going on with the children, my son and my daughter with the house and money and all that kind of stuff. And a couple of years later, like almost 8 years, a year or so later, almost 2 years later, I was sitting there talking to Kathy one morning. I said, you know, why don't we just go ahead and get married? How have we known each other 25 years? Been engaged for like 15. Why don't we just go ahead and get married and make this thing right? And she said, that's good with me, I love to. And I said, all right, I'll tell you what, give me your social security number, I'm going to get our license and we'll go get married. And it's Anne Arundel County to get married without a witness or anything. So I went to the courthouse in Annapolis, my social security number, her number, all the stuff, birthdays, and got a set of license, and 48 hours later we drove to Annapolis to get married. It was boat week in Annapolis. It took longer to find a place to park to get married. Went to the courthouse and got married. Went to dinner from there, our favorite restaurant. Had a nice suit on, she was all dressed up. We were so happy, so proud. No witnesses, didn't take our sponsors, nobody. Kathy's not in Al-Anon, she's not in AA. She calls herself an Al-Nothing. I call her an Al-Something. She's the most precious person in my entire life. I love her to death. And she is so good for me. She didn't take me as a hostage. She let me come down by myself this weekend. She has a hearing disability, and she's a pianist, but she's got perfect pitch, but she has a hearing, and she can't hear. No matter what we've done, what kind of earpiece that we bought, nothing hardly works. So she misses half the conversation. Feels like she doesn't quite fit in sometimes. But she loves AA, and it drops up by my house. They love her to death. She goes to personal anniversaries in the neighborhood, one locally. But she's been so good for me. And so anyway, we ended up getting married. We showed our father and mother, went up to our house, told our parents we got married, and had this great big, now they have a great big wedding certificate. Showed it to my father-in-law. He said, what the hell did you, let me read it, what'd you do now? I said, we just got married. Went up, saw my daughter, they were happy. My kids loved Kathy, they call her. My grandchildren, they call her Aunt Kathy. Talking about grandchildren, let me tell you something. It's nice to go to a meeting somewhere and like speak at a little meeting or something, and people give you a little applause. You want a great experience that surpasses that? Go to your grandchildren's grandparents' day at their school. My granddaughter was in like 8 years old, like in the 3rd grade. And I go to her grandparents' day and I walk in her classroom and she jumps up and tells the whole damn class, there's my papa. Man, I've got tears running down my face. Bride's over gives me a hug. She's so proud of me. We sat in a movie, and she's leaning against me, and she's holding my arm, and she looks up and says, Papa, I love you. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. That's what this is all about. I have a world outside of AA. I love AA to death. I'm not one of these circuit riders come around there every week. Somewhere. I got a world outside of AA. I do what I can for AA. I'll go, I don't like speaking, I'll do it if you ask me, if I can fit them in. But I love my home, I love my wife, I love my grandchildren, my daughter. I love my world outside. There's a world outside of here. Trust me. I love my house, I love working in my yard. I love washing my car. There ain't nothing I'm going to do to help a drunk. I work with a lot of drunks. I still have a home group, I'm still active. So let's get back to my father real fast before I close up. My mother dies, and after a while he reaches the point he can't take care of himself. So we get him to sell everything, and he goes into an assisted living home. He's in there 2 days. I get a phone call. He said, your father's sitting down on the curb with his suitcase packed, waiting for his girlfriend to pick him up. He's like 85 years old. I go down there and I said, well, let him go. Let him go. Live and let live. Mind your business. So he moves in with his lady friend. She calls me up 2 weeks later crying. Please come down and get your father and get him out of here. He's rearranged and everything. He's moved my salt and pepper shakers. He wants to work this side. He likes it hot. I like it cold. I said, you got him. You take him back. She took him back. He looks around, finds out he's one of 10 men, and there's 65 women in his house. It's like a rooster in a hen house. He loves it. I used to take him candy down there. He never had a shirt he wore didn't have a pocket on it. But he put candy in his top shirt pocket. He gave them little old ladies candy down there. It's just a living home. They're all 80, 90 years old. They're following around, he's giving them candy. He's working it, okay? He's the only man in there that doesn't use a walker or a cane. He's just strutting along there. So he sold his car and everything. I went down and see him one day. He said, I went down to the bank the other day, just checked on a couple things. He says, I said, how'd you get to the bank? We sold your car. He said, well, you didn't tell me not to buy another one. You bought a red Chevrolet. He's the only man. Look, if you're a man in a assisted living home with a car, you are the man. Yes. He had so many girlfriends there, it was unbelievable. I go down one time and he's got his hand all bandaged stuff. I said, what happened to your hand? He said, I don't even want to talk about it. I said, we need to talk about it. I'll tell you what happened. We had a meeting with the family when he went to this assisted living home. He said, I need to get someone to have power of attorney over me and my bills and all of my life. And he said, I've got you together because I want to choose one of you to take care of me the rest of my life. He said, I've chosen Stu to do this. My sister said, he's the only one that doesn't have any education. Ray's got a degree in financing. He said, yeah, but he's for real. He tells me to be here at 3 o'clock. He's here at 3 o'clock. I trust him. And I'm retired. I was able to get out and see him 2 or 3 days a week. What a gift God gave me. So I'm down there looking at his hand all bandaged stuff. What happened, Dad? Oh, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Nurse walked by. Either you tell him or I will. All right, tell you what happened. He said, we weren't doing nothing wrong. We were laying in bed trying to keep it warm. They keep the heat down in this place. Nothing enough to keep it warm. He's 91 years old. His girlfriend's 90. He likes younger women. He said, and I went to get out of bed, and I fell out of her bed and hit my hand on the bureau drawer. I said, Dad, you're my hero. I'm 91 years old, falling out of my girlfriend's bed. I'm a man. And that's how he was. I took him one time to a doctor. I took him to a doctor one time. And we were sitting in the doctor's office, and another old man walked through the door, and they lock eyes. And I'm sitting there, and I'm watching him, and my father says, Bill Permerman? The old man looks at my father and says, Ray Bram? I'm thinking, wow. He said, God, he said, we went to elementary school together. I'm thinking, wow, this is spiritual. Wow. And this guy's, Bill's got his daughter with him. And I'm getting teary-eyed watching these two old men see each other. They went to elementary school together. I told her, I said, this is remarkable. She said, hell, they just saw each other last week. I went down one time, he's got a new girlfriend. He's sitting on side of her in a love seat. He's 92 years old, 93 now. He's got a new girlfriend. So he said, I want you to meet my new lady friend. I said, how you doing? I said, Dad, what's your name? He said, Sweetie Pie. I said, what's her real name? He said, Sweetie Pie. She said, you don't even know my name, you hell. He said, it don't matter. We're having fun, we're happy. That's all that counts. Her name was Iris, she said. So I took a magic marker and wrote his hand, I-R-I-S. I said, every time you need to talk to her, Dad, just go like this and you'll be able to. So listen, back to this old lady's and this candy. I used to stop by the dollar store, buy dollar bags of hard candy. And he had a whole drawer full of hard candy. When it was running low one day, I stopped by. I bought the wrong kind of candy. I bought some like taffy type of candy. You know what I mean? Some soft candy. I went down and said, next time he said, man, what in the hell ever you do? Don't never bring me no more of that taffy candy then. He said, all their teeth are coming out and everything. I've had some wonderful experiences with my father. I love my father. So, 4 years ago, September 24th this month, he called me a couple of days before that. He said, I need you to come down. He said, I'm dying. I said, get out of here. He said, no, I'm dying. I know I'm dying. And so God gave me the gift to go down and spend the last 2 days of my father's life with him by his bedside. They had an extra bed there. I just stayed with him around the clock for 48 hours. And helped minister the morphine and take care of him on his way out, make life pleasant and easy for him. I'm kneeling on the side of his bed, and I got his head in the palm of my hand, telling him how much I love him, I want to be just like him. And be able to look in his blue eyes and kiss him goodbye. You brought me in the world, I'm going to help you get out. What a gift God gave me. I've had so many of those kind of things happen to me over the years. My life is so exciting. You may not believe this. I could talk another damn hour. My life has been so exciting. I've had a chance to meet a lady one time because I went along to get in the car. I went along with a guy from Texas, Big John. Took him to the airport. He spoke at our convention. He said, before I leave, I want you to have dinner with me and Margaret McPike. I said, who the hell is Margaret McPike? He said, she's the lady who took care of every Thatcher before he died. We're having lunch with her. I've had an opportunity to see so many people. I had a wonderful opportunity this weekend come in here and sit down and say hi to Dick. 53 years sobriety. Think back where these guys came from and what they had to go through to get this thing going for us to come in and get sober. We can never pay those guys back enough. It's nice to call some new people up once in a while. Why don't you try calling an old timer up one time and thank him and tell him you love him and you appreciate all the work and things he did. I've had the privilege to know so many wonderful people. You know what's neat? A crazy part of that staying sober a long time is in the beginning when you're getting sober, you're making new friends. You're busy making new friends because you don't have any friends, most of us. Years go by. I got relationships with guys I sponsored that's over 43 years old. Cap and I go back 37. You're busy when you get old saying goodbye to old friends. So you got to keep making new friends. Keep making new friends. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here and just share with you this morning. I never know what the hell I'm going to say when I stand up in a meeting. We all have a story. Sometimes I go to meet people who say, I don't have a story. You do have a story. Well, my story's not as big as some other stories I hear. I'm going to tell you the worst story you're ever going to hear in Alcoholics Anonymous is yours when you stand up and tell it. It's the story that took you to get here today to get sober. You get it right when you're meant to, not a day too soon or a day too late. You get it right when God wants you to get here. And I thank God for allowing me to come here and get here and get sober, and I want to thank you for saving my life. God bless you. Thank you.